Have you ever paid the IRS and thought, okay, it's handled, whew, I am done with them? Then you get another notice and the balance is still there. Today I'm going to tell you why that happens, how payments get misapplied, and what you can do to protect yourself every single time you pay the IRS. So, welcome back to Tax Problem Solved. I'm Deltrease Hart-Anderson, keeping the IRS out of your pocketbooks, wallets, and bank accounts. I've seen this mistake cost taxpayers hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars because it's not enough to send money to the IRS. It has to be applied to the right place. So let's go get it. So sometimes people don't realize that the IRS doesn't just have your account, right? They have separate buckets or separate modules, if you will. And these buckets and modules are broken up into different years as well as different types of taxes. So let's say you owe for tax year 2022 for your individual tax return. Okay, that's one bucket. Then you may owe for 2023 tax year. That's another bucket for your individual tax return. But then you may have a business, and that business may have payroll, right? You may have employees. So there is a different bucket. There's a payroll tax bucket or module, if you will. And you also could have estimated taxes. So this estimated taxes could be for your business if you are a C corporation, or it could also be for your personal or individual tax return. So hopefully you get my point. So when the payments get posted to the wrong bucket, wrong year, wrong tax type, wrong social security number, wrong entity, wrong EIN, then the balance you meant to pay can still sit there unpaid. And that is where the problem comes in. When it just sits unpaid, penalties and interest keep accruing. So your balance is going up and up, up and away, right? And then you could even set yourself up to have levies or liens. And it's all because the IRS did not do what they were supposed to do, okay? Payments can be real and still be wrong, if that makes sense. So how can we stop this from actually happening? What can we do to fix it? So let me tell you what happens in real life. If a wrong year is selected online, let's say you go and pay your tax bill online, you might select the wrong year. So if you select the wrong year without noticing, then guess what's going to happen? This is a misapplied payment, and the IRS isn't going to consider that payment for the year that you intended it. Same thing for the wrong payment type. For example, you may have meant to select balance due, if you will, but you chose estimated taxes or vice versa. Another thing is, if you are married filing joint, you and your spouse have a tax bill together and you paid the taxes, but the tax account itself is in your spouse's name. Your spouse is the primary on the account, then that's a mix-up. Then the payment is going to be or could be misapplied. Another thing that I've seen is when there are business and personal back tax issues, okay? So sometimes someone could pay under their social security number when it should have been paid, the bill should have been paid with the EIN or federal ID number, whichever you want to call it. Or someone is paying income tax when the actual problem is actually the payroll tax. So it's a lot of ways that someone can misapply a payment, or the IRS could get it wrong as well. So Here's an example. You owe $30,000, right, for tax year 2022 on your individual tax return. So your Form 1040. And you want to pay $2,000 on it. So you go online and you pay $2,000, but you accidentally select 2023 estimated tax, or a better example, 2026 estimated taxes. Now, what happens? Your 2022 balance that you intended to pay is still out there, right? It's just still sitting waiting for a payment to be applied. Then penalties and interest keep growing on that 2022 balance, not as you know it, because you think you have reduced your bill by $2,000. You haven't. So the penalties and interest keep growing as though you did not make a dime. You did not pay a dime towards that balance. And you've basically prepaid your 2026 taxes, which doesn't really fix your 2022 issue. If you have back taxes for 2022, that's more of an urgent issue at this point than paying your estimated taxes for 2026 right now, especially when they're not even due yet. Okay? So now you get a notice. And this is where the confusion comes in, because you know you paid, right? But you really didn't. Well, you paid. It's just not where you thought the payment was supposed to go. All right. This also can happen if you mail in a payment and you don't tell the IRS exactly where that payment should go. So the IRS, either they will assume or they will be nonchalant, I hate to say it, and just put it anywhere. And that, again, is the problem, because the penalties and the interest, they just accrue, they keep increasing, and you are none the wiser until you get that bill in the mail. Okay? So I want to give you a checklist every time. If you do this, take these steps every time, you can eliminate most of the risk. Okay? Nothing is going to be perfect. I've had clients that did the right thing the whole time, and the IRS still somehow found a way to mess it up. However, if we get our side right, then that's half the battle, really over half the battle. So here are the steps. I'm going to give you 5 steps that I want you to take when you are paying a tax bill. So step 1, you identify yourself, what you're paying. Know what you're paying. Know what tax year you're paying, the tax type, and the social security number that the tax account is under, meaning the primary social security number, as well as the EIN or federal ID, whichever you call it. Okay? So if you're the primary, make sure and put your social security number. That's how you're going to identify the tax bill. If your spouse is the primary, I don't care if you're the one that's paying it or not, you still want to put your spouse's social security number on the document. All right? Step number 2, online payments, which is the preferred method. Again, confirm the payment reason, the payment type, confirm the year, confirm the social security number and or EIN, and then save that confirmation number. Take a screenshot, do a print, whatever you have to do, but save that number. It is important. Okay? Especially if the IRS misapplies that payment, you want to have that confirmation number. That's at least a start to saying, okay, here's the confirmation number. This is how much I paid. This is when I paid it. Right? Step 3, if you're mailing a check, in the memo line of the check, make sure and put, here again, no duh, tax form, the year, and the social security number of the primary person, or the EIN or federal ID number if it is a business. Now, if you have a voucher, please include that voucher. That's going to help if something is kind of screwed up on the check itself, as far as in the description or the memo line. IRS could still kind of identify what that payment is for, what year it's for, what form, all the things, okay? And then please make sure you use a trackable method if you're mailing. I am sending out a little blurb to my clients about how the mail is being responded to or processed, if you will, by the IRS right now, because, and it's not on the IRS, it's how the post office is now processing mail. So, and maybe I'll do a podcast on that. I'm not sure. But make sure you have a trackable method. So send it certified, get the tracking, whatever USPS, the United States Postal Service, whatever tracking, you're going to pay extra for it, but it will be so well worth it because you want to track your payment. You want to track that check. Step 4, verify the posting. This is where many people fall down. Check your account. Continue to check your tax account to make sure that the payment posted to the correct year and tax type. This is going to help you if you detect it early, then this is going to help you tons, okay? Confirm your balance move the way that you expected. I will give you an example, and this is the this is the reason why I decided to make this particular episode about payments. I have a client who paid off the IRS 6 figures, six figures, right? And that was for a few years, 3 or 4 years. They paid everything, paid it off. The IRS, some reason, did not apply any of that money to the actual years that had balances. They went back to a year in a land far, far away. They went back to like 2015 or 2016 and applied the payment to that particular year. That made absolutely positively no sense. Because I am representing the client, luckily I was able to catch that for them and then contact the IRS and work with the IRS in assisting them, in helping them apply the payments to the right places, as well as getting updated penalty and interest information. Because that's another thing. If the IRS applies your payment to the wrong year, the penalties and interest needs to be adjusted once they correct it. Okay? That's another thing that needs to happen. You have to follow up with them. And there again, guys, remember the IRS is down 25% of their staff. So you may have to coach the person that you're talking to over the phone. You may have to coach them into how to move this money. That's what I had to do. I had a wonderful assister on the phone, but he was a little confused initially. And after about 10-15 minutes or so, then he was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So yeah, but anyway, step 4, you just want to verify the posting, confirming that the balance was applied where it was supposed to be applied. And lastly, step 5, here's some red flags. If your balance doesn't change, that's a red flag. If a notice arrives saying that, hey, you still have a balance, that's a red flag. If your payments posted to the wrong year and type that you can physically see, that's a red flag. Or if you're in an installment agreement and you get kicked out of that installment agreement, that's a red flag. So watch for those red flags that you are making sure that the IRS has applied those payments where they are supposed to be applied. Okay? So just make sure, don't wait. Please don't wait. Again, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but if you suspect that your payment was misapplied, get it corrected, because the sooner you fix it, the sooner you can stop any unnecessary penalties and interest from piling up. Okay? That is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Tax Problem Solved. If you're having payment issues or misapplied payment issues that you need to get fixed and you don't have anyone to assist you, please reach out to us. You can go to stopirsletters.com. That's stopirsletters.com, and we will be happy to help. The bottom line is, don't just pay the IRS, pay the right account, okay? And if you want my full checklist, we talked about it here, but please just reach out. You can send me a DM. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever, or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this podcast or wherever you heard about us. If you message us payment, I can send you the checklist, okay? And again, if you've paid the IRS and your balance isn't moving the way it should, or if you haven't paid them and you need help, please book a consultation. We can help you out. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you once again for listening. I'm Deltrease Hart-Anderson, keeping the IRS out of your pocketbooks, wallets, and bank accounts. Till next time, bye, y'all.